How many grams of protein do you need to build muscle in the gym? This is a common topic of debate for both training and the bodybuilding world. So today we're going to dive into this and compare what we have from the nutritional guidelines to both experience and research when training for maximal hypertrophy gains. Now, with determining the amount of protein you need for yourself when training for hypertrophy or trying to get those gains out there, this is not a one size fits all category. You may have heard the rule of thumb of having 1 gram per pound of body weight or 2.2 grams per kilo of body weight, and that usually fixes all your problems in terms of getting your protein intake. But this isn't necessarily correct for you. Protein intake is quite variable and does depend on some factors for yourself, such as your body weight, your years of training experience, and how much lean muscle mass you are carrying to actually utilize that protein intake. It would not be optimal to simply go off guidelines or recommendations. For example, most health institutions or guidelines say to have 0.36 grams per pound of body weight. And this is simply not enough. If I were to be going off this and do a quick calculation of 0.36 times 190 pounds, which I am at the moment, this would mean that I should only have 68.4 grams of protein. And now at the moment, my protein has been ranging anywhere from 215 to 225 grams. And that has been giving me amazing results and recovery. The thing when it comes to protein intake and training, especially when training for bodybuilding or hypertrophy gains, trying to pack on some muscle, is we do require more protein to stimulate more protein synthesis and actually cause some greater repair when getting in the gym, smashing your muscles in extremely intense workouts, and then needing to recover and to actually grow throughout the following days, weeks, and years to come. Now, what has been recommended by most athletes and researchers in the bodybuilding world, they have found that you should have anywhere between 1.2 to 1.5 grams of protein per pound in body weight. So that would translate to 2.6 to 3.3 grams per kilo. Now, this can seem high at first, but getting your right amount of protein intake is tricky. It depends on several variables, as I mentioned before, such as how many years you've been training, how much quality and pure muscle you have on your physique, and as well as what kind of stage you're in with your diet, whether you're trying to cut weight, maintain weight, or grow in an off-season or calorie surplus. So for example, if you're trying to cut or shred down for summer or for a bodybuilding show, you might actually find yourself in that 2.6 to 3 gram of protein per kilo range. And this is because as you're going through a deficit, you might be dropping other things such as your carbs and your fats, and you want to keep something high, which is your protein, because there is always a risk of losing muscle mass. So by keeping your protein intake relatively higher, this can help prevent catabolic effects such as muscle breakdown and help preserve more muscle, as it will promote more muscle protein synthesis and more anabolic signals and pathways in your body. Now, another situation might be where you're trying to maintain weight. This is where you might want to go on the lower end of that spectrum. This is where you might want to be somewhere between 2 to 2.5 grams of protein. 2 might even cut it at this point. And this is simply because you usually might have your carbs and fats a little bit higher. Plus, you're not going to be in a great deficit because you're trying to maintain weight. So this should give you enough calories overall to maintain your muscle mass at that moment and roughly keep your physique how it is without the risk of losing your muscle mass through catabolic properties. Now, on the other hand, when you're trying to gain size, people might think you need to chuck your protein intake up 4 times your weight in kilograms, getting 300, 400, 500 grams of protein in, but this is not true. In this sort of situation, you're actually upping your calories greatly in the surplus to gain some size and gain some weight. So you actually have a high abundance of carbs and fats as well. Now, because of this, they're going to keep you satiated, they're going to give you plenty of fuel, and they will prevent anti-catabolic properties because you're in a surplus of calories. So your body's not going to start digging into muscle stores for fuel and start breaking down your well-earned muscle mass. So in these circumstances, you actually can keep your protein a little bit lower out of all 3 of these circumstances, maybe even that 1.5 to 2 gram per kg of weight. So all in all, this does really depend on your physique, the amount of muscle you have, and the years you've been training as well. And another main variable, which is what kind of phase of your training program or diet you're in at the moment. Whether you're trying to drop weight, whether you're trying to maintain where you are right now, or you're just trying to grow and be in a surplus. So when doing either one of these types of diets, this macronutrient is quite variable. You can pull, you can push it, or you can keep it the same throughout and see how you feel. If you're an advanced or seasoned athlete trying to maintain your muscle mass, build some, or just prevent losing it in a diet, maybe keeping your protein intake at 2.5 grams per kilogram will be your best bet. Now, this is a quick breakdown of our lovely macronutrient, which is protein, and how you might need to adjust it depending on where you're at in your diet, your physique, or what you're trying to achieve throughout the next few weeks, months, or year. Plan to do a little bit of a breakdown for carbs and fats as well, and when you might need to push or pull these, depending on what you're trying to achieve in and out of the gym. That was it for today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Please drop a like, drop a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. My Instagram is always up here, so if you have any questions, feel free to DM me or drop it in the comment sections below. Sensei Swole, checking out.